Yo, it's S. Foster of the Stolen Time podcast, and this is episode 206 of the podcast. We still have no Uncle Washington, but I got my guy, co-host. I ain't even calling him the co-host because man, we split that shit. It ain't even really no co-host. It's just kind of like the two hosts of the Viewers Anonymous podcast. I got my guy Scootzbronsen with me. So how we feeling today, man? We good?
Man, feeling good, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to try to do my best to fill in for Uncle Washington, man. Big shoes to fill. So you know what I'm saying? I'm about to bring you out these hot takes that I got, man. Hopefully I can make him proud.
Yeah, man, because this is going to be more of the formula of the way that
Yeah.
I've been doing it with the Stolen Time podcast. Because the last two episodes, you know what I'm saying, me and Mark, we just got on here and we just kind of, really talked. Really, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have like topics. And then on the episode before that, I had my guy Willie on. So it wasn't the normal formula, but you know what I'm saying, I'm going to try to get back to business as far as this podcast. But man, yo, look, I like how you ignored my text last week, man. And I didn't think about that shit till today. Man, I text you. All right, listen, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody knows I'm kind of I would say I'm the most well versed person when it comes to music, but you know what I'm saying? But I got my rock lane. You know what I'm saying? And like one
Yeah.
one band I always follow. And sorry for the voice, people. Allergies been really whooping my ass. So I know I don't sound normally like I normally do, but yo, Evanescence dropped their album Friday, right? The Bitter Truth. I
Mm-hmm.
text your ass and I said, yo, I know you ain't a huge fan. I said, but I'm telling you, this album is fire, yo.
Man, I
This
didn't know how to
motherfucker don't
respond,
text
bro.
me back a thing.
I don't know how to respond, bro. Cause listen, like I remember, like in the early 2000s, listening to Evanescence and like hearing it on the radio. But like I've never been one to like go like search for their music because like they ain't never really been like a huge, you know what I'm saying, like one of those groups that caught my ear. Like I listen to, you know what I'm saying, everything as well. Like I used to listen to Three Doors Down. Um, you know what I'm saying? I listened to Fallout Boy. I listened to Panic at the Disco. Like so I it's not like I didn't listen to rock or I didn't, you know what I'm saying, like catch up with shit like that. But it was like when you said Evanescence, I was thinking, I'm like, man, let me try to find it and listen. And then I heard it and I was like, I really wasn't feeling this. So I was like, well, I don't want to be negative. So I was like, I just see if he say something after that. If he don't say nothing after that, then I'm good.
Nah, like yo, everybody got their own taste. Like, look,
hmm
I am on an island, man, when it comes to a lot of shit. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people think I'm like the weirdest. Like even my girl think I'm the weirdest dude ever, man. Like and
You
a
got
lot of
good you
people
got
give me
good
that.
musical taste though.
See, a lot of people give me that with Cuddy too.
Yeah.
But the thing get like, man, they man, I can't believe you said it because I like the whole album, but like I
Mm.
mean, first I got the intro, but like the first two tracks, well, track three, that was their first single. That was
Okay.
motherfucking the game is over. Shit, I had
Okay.
the game is over as like in my top three tracks to come out last year. Like that was my second favorite track to come out last year, and
That's huge.
and they had a song called "Broken Pieces Shine." Yo, I do
hmm
this thing where it's like I did a full run through the album, ran through the album,
hmm
but like I knew when I heard that second track, "Broken Pieces Shine," I was like, yo, this shit is fire. And then that was one of those things where I just keep listening to that shit on repeat, on repeat, on
Yeah.
repeat, on repeat, on repeat. That shit, man. I'm sorry. I just had to get that off. But I was just thinking about that because, dude, I was stuck in traffic on the way home. So I was
Mhm.
like, fuck. So I'm sitting here, I'm kind of going over the podcast in my head a little bit. And then the song come on because I had it like I just usually go to my Napster, go to favorites and just, hit shuffle. And so it came on, and I knew I was potting with you today. I said, "This motherfucker never even text me back." I was like, "He
Man, it
never
wasn't
text me
it
back."
wasn't it wasn't a malicious move, man. Just know I just didn't want to send that negative your way. That's all it was. But I was
Oh
like,
man.
man, just I see if that one skirt by. If it can skirt by, I'm good. I was like, not then I just had to tell him like, man, I just wasn't feeling it. But nah,
Oh man.
I've heard Evanescence songs before, and you know what I'm saying, like some of their older music I have listened to. But like I said, man, like Three Doors Down, you know what I'm saying, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, Linkin Park, you know what I'm saying, like those type of groups were the groups I usually had listened to. So it was like, you know, it's for me like I like your music taste because like you said, like you got a real eclectic music taste. So like for you to even like Kid Cudi and think that Kid Cudi was dope, like I already knew the type of music that you was into because when Kid Cudi first came out, I was into it too. But I knew Cudi as a producer. I didn't know him as an artist yet. So when I heard like Man on the Moon, remember we talked about Man on the Moon being one of those albums that that's a classic album for real. So you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like even bringing that up, like I knew what kind of music taste you had, but when you had told me about Evanescence, though, I was just like, man, I'm gonna try it, but I was like, I don't know.
Hey,
I was like, I
that
don't know.
shit. That's my shit. Well, I be rocking out to that shit. But
Yeah,
man, let's get straight to business, man. So especially in my world, some of the biggest news to come out, man, and we're gonna add this into. I mean, there's a whole like quarterback carousel out here, but everybody that knows me, I am a 49ers
man.
fan. And I seen the news break the other day, and I was like, yo, they traded up to the third pick, traded with the Dolphins. And I mean, so they gave up their first rounder this year, and it was a late round pick. And then they also gave up their two next consecutive first round picks. So
Mm,
automatically, I'm like, yo, we drafting a quarterback, and it's going to be Justin Fields. And so the 49ers, but you also got to understand, like, what's my man name? John Lynch. He's a smokescreen guy. Like, he's not
yeah,
going to give you his hand. So
yeah.
they put out there that they're looking at Zach Wilson, they're looking at Matt Jones, and they're also looking at Trey Lance or whatever. And what they ended up
Mm-hmm.
doing was Justin Fields and Matt Jones had a pro day same day. But you
Yeah.
also got to remember Kyle Shanahan knew Justin Fields from I think the Senior Bowl, so he'd been
Mm-hmm.
knowing Justin Fields for a while. And so he seen him up close, coming out of high school and stuff before he went to Georgia. So he already got like a semi relationship with him. But I think what the smoke screen is, with them choosing to go to Matt Jones joint, I think that it was one thing was Matt Jones had a pro day before that. He didn't do that well, so he wanted to do another one, and
Mm-hmm.
so he did the other one. And I think that they looked at it like, yo, we already know what Justin Fields can do. Let's just give Matt Jones one more look, but let's also let these other teams think, yo, we might get Matt Jones. Oh yeah, we're also looking at Trey Lance as well. So with them making this move, you're an Ohio State guy, you're a Buckeye. How you feeling about this, man? Because I think it'd be a perfect situation for somebody like Justin Fields.
Honestly, man, I think that everybody's kind of jumping the gun on this one. You got to forget. I mean, you got to remember. You know what I'm saying, and don't forget that the Jets still have that second pick. You know what I'm saying, and the Jets are also looking for a quarterback. Um, I know that there was some rumblings in that Clemson and Ohio State game that they were saying that Justin Fields might go number two. He had one of those plays where he got injured, took a play off, came back through a touchdown. That type of resiliency, and then having the pro day that he just had, they the highlight of his pro day was he did a rollout, ran up probably about 2 yards and threw a 65 yarder. So I mean, it's looking pretty good for him. I think he has some pretty good highlights from this past season and the season before. He got some great intangibles. He can move his feet. You know what I'm saying? He's good in the pocket. He can read defenses. He's not necessarily one of those quarterbacks to kind of just sit back there too long. Um, my only thing is if the game gets too fast for him, you know what I'm saying? You could tell like he's not ready for that yet. I think that San Francisco would be a great place for him because to have Jimmy G ahead of him, he can actually sit back for a year and learn, or maybe 2 years and learn. But that's of course all dependent on if Jimmy G can stay healthy. But I'm looking at the Jets. I think if the Jets make that move, then you know the best move for uh San Fran to go would probably be Kyle Trask. I know a lot of people ain't talking about Kyle Trask right now, but if you go back and look at the year he had last year in Florida, um, he just actually broke a record for most yards in the SEC season, and the last person to do that was the year before with Joe Burrow. So, and we seen what Joe Burrow could do on the field. You know what I mean? Kyle Trask, he had a couple weapons down there in Florida, real good in the pocket, big guy. You know what I'm saying? He can't move as much, but he's not a stagnant quarterback in that pocket. And you know what I'm saying? One of those guys who has a high IQ, got a good arm, good strong arm at that. So I mean, I don't know, man. I think Kyle Trask might be the dark horse in this whole quarterback carousel in the draft.
For me, when it comes to the Jets, right? I think it's a few things. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, we don't know if Sam Darnold is good or not, and a lot of that is because they didn't protect him. So if you spend a first round pick on him the year before,
Mm-hmm.
and your offensive line as bad as it is, we don't know how good he actually could be. So that's one thing. The other thing is they could trade back
That's true.
if they're gonna stick with them, because this is the thing. Jets got a lot of bad, like they're a bad football team. They need a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and why not trade back and then you can have two first round picks. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, but it has to be a suitor. It has to be somebody that wants to go up to that second spot. Now, also, the other thing I'm hearing about the Jets is the dude Wilson out of
Mm-hmm.
BYU. Some people starting to say that he's probably going to be the second quarterback taken off the board. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's like I said, it's like, dude, the NFL is all about, you know what I'm saying, chess moves.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff being thrown out there. So like nothing is really. I think the only sure thing right now is Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. I think that's the only for sure thing that we know at this moment. But I think as far as these quarterbacks, this is what scares me about. It's funny you skipped over him, how you skipped over Trey Lance, because the thing with him is he had a red shirt year.
Mm-hmm.
Then he has one great season, and
Mm-hmm.
then they shut down football. But the one crazy thing is North Dakota State broke their rule all for him to play one game. He played one game this previous year,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's not a lot of film on him. So this is going to be more of a you drafted him off of potential. I mean, everybody's being drafted off potential, but
Right.
it's just like, okay, he got what, like 14, 15 games. So you only got like 15 games of tape on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So do you really want to spend a second or third pick in the first round on this guy? I don't know. But I mean, it's interesting that you said Kyle Trask. I mean, I think he's good, but it's just like when they're saying like the quarterbacks that got the grades that they got, hey, who knows? Look, nobody thought the Giants was going to take Daniel Jones.
Exactly.
Daniel Jones was projected to be like a second round, late first to second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think people always stretch to get, not stretch, but I think they always like, I mean, yeah, I mean, they stress over this quarterback thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that it'll be a good pick because if they do get Justin Fields, it'll be a perfect situation for him because a lot of times the best quarterback or someone that's considered, at least in the top three, they always go to usually to a bad team. The only time that didn't
Yeah.
happen was, I mean, it wasn't the worst situation, but Ben went to a good team right off the rip, and
Yeah.
Andrew Luck went to a pretty good team.
Aaron
They made the
Rodgers.
playoffs. Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers fell all the way to like the 24th pick or something like that. So that's a little
Yeah.
different. I'm saying like when you
Oh,
get
you talking
picked in
about
the, like
top
the top
picks?
10, yeah, like the
Okay.
top
Okay.
picks,
I
usually
mean,
the good
Lamar Jackson.
quarterback. Yeah, but Lamar Jackson was at the back of the first round.
I mean, still a top pick, first round. I mean, if you think about it, Baltimore, as good as they were, on defense, that offense suffered big time with Joe Flacco, especially that year before he got drafted. They was struggling to make it in the playoffs. I mean, they were getting there as far as regular season goes, but once that playoff time hit, man, you could see Joe Flacco just it wasn't in him. And then on top of that, him coming back from that injury that year, and then having to pretty much keep them in the game and keep them, you know what I'm saying, in the lead for the season. I believe they won the division that year, and then they ended up going to the playoffs. But it was just you could tell Joe Flacco was just he ain't have it in him that year.
Oh yeah. And then I think that to go to a team, see, I think the reason why a lot of people don't have like the 49ers like in the top 10 right now is because they don't know what they're going to necessarily do with the quarterback position, but people, they still need to put respect on their name. They made the Super Bowl a year before. Like I know last year looked bad, but see that's the concern that takes me to Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like okay, as far as him as a starter, I think he just finally lost like a double, like in the double digits in the loss column, as far as being the starting quarterback. So he
That's
wins
still not
games,
fair though. That's still
but
not fair though.
I mean the thing is he wins games, but at the same time you have to be available.
Well, this
So
is the thing. If you look at him in a full healthy season, you know what he can do, right? Like I said, they went to the Super Bowl. They were the NFC champions. Now, if you take him for the last few years, I mean the last couple of years or whatever, and then you use that against them, I mean that's not really fair. It's like he was injured. But when he comes, if you get him back, and then you got to also look at Mostert being injured. You know what I'm saying? You got Debo Samuel was injured. You know what I'm saying? George Kittle was fighting his ass off to make sure that y'all was staying in the same spot. So it's like it's not just the fact that your quarterback got injured. A lot of the main pieces on offense got injured as well. So if you get everybody healthy, get everybody back in the groove, there's no telling what San Fran can do.
yeah, like to me, I don't even consider like last year was just a lost year. Like
Right,
everybody
right.
was hurt. The 49ers had the most players on IR in
Yeah,
NFL history at the
exactly.
same time. So,
Exactly.
but when you look at the year before, that's why they're like, yo, what just if it's Justin Fields, well, put it this way, they're gonna draft the quarterback.
Hmm.
It's an insurance policy for this year. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like this year is an insurance policy year. It's like I just saw a report that they said the only offers that they will listen to for Jimmy is a first round pick. I don't think nobody's gonna give up a first round pick for him, but I think that the 49ers just
Mm,
saying, like, yo,
mm,
this is
I
the
don't
only
know.
stuff we'll listen to. Now, they say that the Patriots are still in the picture, but I don't
Hmm.
know if Bill Belichick is willing to give up. I mean, he gave him up for a second round, and he's gonna turn
Right.
around and give up a first round to get him back. I don't know, but we'll have to see. But I
Well, you got to
also believe,
remember, Belichick also had Tom Brady as a starting quarterback at the time too, so that changes
yeah,
everything. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't remember that Jimmy Garoppolo sat behind Tom Brady for 2 to 3 years before actually going to start. So it wasn't surprising that when he actually gets a team that he can take the helm of, he takes them to the Super Bowl. He sat behind Tom Brady. He sat in the Patriots organization for 2 to 3 years, learning and you know what I'm saying, and basically getting his chops there. So any team he goes to after that, he's going to be successful. And that's why I said if you give him a full healthy season, the sky's the limit.
it's I don't know if I would say sky's the limit. I think there's still limitations. By watching the play calling that Cal does with them,
Mhm.
he protects him a lot of the times. Like he
Right.
really like the only time he really let him loose was the Saints game, and it had to be a shoot. You playing Drew Brees, like it had to turn into a shootout. So like that game, and then there was another game where he like really let him loose. But like a lot of the times, if it's not for the misdirection in the running game,
Mm-hmm.
like we wouldn't like the 49ers wouldn't have went, I think what 13-3 13-3. I don't think they would have
Yeah.
went 13-3 without that. And so I think that when it comes to Jimmy, because I watched every game that year. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like you can see in the play calling where he don't trust him. Like a lot of the times when it's 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7, he would run a screen sometimes, he would run a reverse sometimes, or he would give him a read where he got to read one side of the field, and if that first read ain't there, check down. So like you could tell
So
like he kind of feels.
is that more so a is that more so against Jimmy, or is that more so against the receiving core? Because I think that's more so against the receiving core if you look at it. Like I think that one of the most important things as an offensive coordinator or a coordinator in general is to know your personnel. So you know that on the 3rd and 6, you really don't have the proper personnel to go and make that play. I mean, you got a guy like Deebo Samuel. Don't get me wrong; he's a great guy to have. But to me personally, I think Deebo Samuel would be a great slot receiver. And then if you got a guy like George Kittle at tight end, he's going to get double teamed because he's the main guy or the main receiver on that team right now. So when you look at it, you really don't have the necessary pieces to be able to take a 3-and-6 play and be able to pass it, what I'm saying, down the field for 15 to 20 yards because you already know that's what they're expecting you to do, and you don't have the personnel to be able to get open and make that play. That's just me personally.
Well, and when I speak on this, I'm talking about the Super Bowl year. So we had Emmanuel
Mm-hmm.
Sanders to
Right,
stretch the
right,
field.
okay.
So you had Emmanuel Sanders, you had Debo in his rookie year,
Mm-hmm.
Kittle, best tight end in the game. But
Yep.
then, like at the time, you also had, I mean, Kendrick Bourne isn't really a name. Dante Pettis, he was supposed to be the guy. Him and Kyle Shanahan had beef. Like I don't know what was going on with them two, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but you had like, viable guys. Like Emmanuel Sanders was still a good piece to have.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy, but I don't love Jimmy. But you also got to consider a lot of the times when when you have the best personnel is when your quarterback is on a rookie deal.
yeah.
If you can strike fire in that first 3 to 4 years while that rookie's still on his rookie contract, you
Mm-hmm.
can load up on the defense, you can load up on the offense because your quarterback is not taking up all the cap. And then you also got to
Right.
remember 49ers just made Trent Williams the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history. So now
It's yeah.
You got Kittle making all this money, and you got your left tackle making all this money, and your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Out of these guys, somebody got to go. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually you're gonna have to pay if Debo keep playing the way he's playing. Brandon Ayuk, he had a great rookie year last year. And
Mm-hmm.
then like as far as like, I mean, look, Bosa, he's gonna be coming up in about 2 years. So it's like this would be the
Yeah,
perfect time to be able to keep all your personnel if your rookie quarterback is still on that rookie contract. But I still think with that being said, I think that they
that's
should run it
interesting.
back one more year. I still think they should
That's
run it back
interesting.
for Jimmy. I think they still should run it
Yeah.
back for Jimmy because I think that because like I said, the insurance policy, if Jimmy don't get hurt, you got your future right there. But if he
Mm-hmm.
does, it's like, all right, so now we got to do. But you also put the pressure on Jimmy. Because Jimmy, you start fucking up, everybody gonna be screaming for that backup to come in. That's always the
Well,
most popular guy
I
is the
think you're looking
backup.
at it wrong. I think you're looking at it wrong, right? So, um, I think that the injuries that Jimmy's had could be kind of a blessing for San Francisco, right? So now that gives them the opportunity to restructure his contract. He wasn't really available for these last couple years, as much as they wanted him to be, and with that happening, you want to kind of look at it like we don't want to put him in a position where he doesn't want to play, but we also don't want to put him in a position where we don't want to pay, right? So with the
Yeah.
injuries, I think that now drafting the quarterback behind him, I don't think that's necessarily going to put a fire up under him like we think it is. It definitely will because it's the competition of it all. But at the same time, you also got to think this is a chance for San Francisco to get somebody, get them on a rookie contract, like you said, be the future. This is also a time to go get a high touted receiver or at least somebody that Jimmy G can connect with. Get him somebody that he can rely on. Get him somebody who is not necessarily his check down, but is the guy that his go to guy. So I feel like if that can be the situation and they can talk him into restructuring that contract and telling them that, hey, we want to shoot for the Super Bowl this year. This is the perfect time to do it. You healthy. Let's get out there. Let's get you a guy that you can rely on outside of George Kittle because I think so far that's the guy he's really relying on. And to me, that's been his check down man since he's been there. So if you can get a guy on the outside who he can throw to, who he knows can make the play, I think that Jimmy G will definitely take less money in order to win the championship or in order to fight to win the championship.
I could be biased. Maybe I am. But I think Samuel and Ayuk is it, man. I know they're young and they don't have
Mm-hmm.
necessarily that name for themselves yet. But I
Yeah.
think that those dudes are really fucking good. Like they really are. And I just think that if it's a situation like, I mean, they always find a way to get Debo the ball. I mean, a lot of times Debo's in the backfield, like they use him great. So
Mm-hmm.
but he's not like built like he built like a damn running back. Like I mean, this dude will run you the
Right.
fuck over. But like
Right.
I think he got reliable hands though. I mean, his rookie year, man. I mean, if it wasn't for who got rookie of the year that year? Was it Jordan Jefferson? No, it was I forget who it was. But anyway, he had a great rookie year, and Brandon Ayuk did too. I think that they're good. I think that this team. I mean, honestly, I mean, some people probably don't like the defensive backfield as much, but I think
Mm-hmm.
if those guys can stay healthy, because Jimmy Ward is always fucking hurt, and Tark he's been injured the last 2 seasons, but
Well,
they brought both
did
of them
y'all
back.
lose Richard Sherman?
Yeah, we lost Sherman, but we kept the 3 guys that we had last year.
Oh, well,
Well,
y'all secondary gonna be good then.
I think they still working on the deal with Jason Verrett. No, they
Yeah.
did get that done. So Jason
As
Verrett
long as
coming
Richard
back.
Sherman ain't there, y'all good.
Hey, Sherman, my age, man. Like it's
Hey
about that
man,
time.
he always
It's
been
about that
overhyped,
time, man.
man. He always been overhyped, man.
I don't know. Look, I gotta disagree because the thing is, and it got nothing to do with him being with the 49ers. It got to do with the 49ers had to play Seattle twice. And like what he used to do to Crabtree, man,
Man,
I used
nah,
to be
that's
like,
not
oh
fair.
my God.
That's
But I
not
was like,
fair, bro. That's not fair, bro. First off, Michael Crabtree is a great secondary receiver at best. He was the man at Texas Tech. Don't get me wrong, but he was never a number one receiver ever.
they, they turned him into one though.
And you see how it
But he
played
had
out.
Anquan Bolden on the other side.
That's what
But
I'm
he had
saying. But you
Anquan
see
Bolden
how
on
it
the other
played out.
side.
And
So
Anquan Bolden was the one getting double teamed.
yeah, but at the same time, like, dude, we had a fucking roster, man. What's my man name? The tight end that we had Vernon Davis.
Yep.
And then, dude, and they had Delaney Walker at that time, man. Hey,
Yeah.
oh man, they were so good. But man, but to take us a little bit more around the league, man, like I was saying to you earlier, like this whole quarterback carousel is like that's why I don't see another team that would give up a first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
What the Patriots is running it back with Cam, but
Yep.
it's still low money. It's low money, so they still can maneuver some shit around. It's not guaranteed he's the starter. Tampa Bay running
Right.
it back.
Uh-huh.
Dalton, he signed with the Bears, and they put a picture on their Twitter or whatever, quarterback number one. So I don't know if they're trying to light something under Mitchell Trubisky, but or something I don't
I
know.
think they
But
trying to
they
get rid
said,
of Trubisky. They done the Trubisky era is done with in Chicago. Them getting Andy Dalton, I think, is going to be probably the best thing that happened to them. They re-signed Allen Robinson, so you know what I'm saying. They got somebody for him to throw to. They got somebody for him to connect with. Their running game is pretty decent. Their defense probably needs more work than none. Them having Khalil Mack there is helpful, but Khalil Mack needs help. Um, but I think that Trubisky will probably be sitting the bench this year. He'll probably end up somewhere maybe next year or the year after. I don't see him coming on the field unless, God forbid, you know what I'm saying, Andy Dalton gets hurt. But yeah, I think Dalton is definitely going to be the number one. I think they've already made that decision free and clear. I just think that they don't want to release Trubisky because they paid him so much, but at the same time, to get Dalton with what they got Dalton for is really a bargain. So somebody of that caliber, him still having it, I think it's smart for them to put him at number one.
I see what you're saying. But speaking of backup quarterback, I know this is out of nowhere, but like, dude, and I bring his name up a couple of times on the pod. Chase Daniels, dude. Do you know that? Okay, so Chase Daniels just signed. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Chargers
uh-huh.
backup deal. You know, this dude has made. I think it was either 36 or 38 million dollars, and he's only thrown 216 passes in the NFL.
All because
They
of
said,
one great season at Mizzou for no
"Hey,
reason, bro. All because of one good season at Mizzou, bro. That's it. That's all
hey,
it took. Why are
dude,
they
you
paying
know
this
how
dude?
that makes me like I don't even want to say I'm furious. I never say the word furious, dude. They said
Why
that
are they
he.
paying this dude, bro? What is he?
They
What has
said
he proven in the league that makes people want him? To me, I feel like
nothing.
he's gonna end up like Ryan Fitzpatrick when it's all said and done. Like he's gonna
Ryan
be that one.
Fitzpatrick plays though.
No way. He's gonna be that one dude that early on in his career he didn't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying? He had a few tries here and there. And then like once he's been around almost every team, then they're really gonna start putting him at that starting position at the beginning of the season. He's gonna show out because he's been in the league for 10 plus years. And then he's gonna have his moments and then he's out of there.
Dude. They said it was something like he's made $144,000 a throw. And I'm like, yo, man, this dude get opportunity after opportunity, man. And it's like, man, listen, you got NBA players who 10 times the player he is and haven't made $38 million in their career. It's just
But
insane.
it's two that's two different ball games, man.
It
That's
is,
two
it
different
is,
ball
it
games.
is. But it's just but the thing is the NBA is guaranteed money. This
Exactly.
this dude
Exactly.
is backup. Man, listen,
But think about
that
how
is the
long he been
best.
in the league, though. Think about how long
This
dude has been in the league.
this Chase Daniels has had the best job in America for the past decade.
Word.
I don't care what nobody say. The best job in
Word.
America.
Him no,
But
him and Kirk Cousins. Him and Kirk Cousins are on the same thing.
Kurt taking the beating though. Chase ain't got
Hey,
look,
hey,
dude.
with all
They don't
that
even
with
get
all
hit.
that money put me out there, I'll take it too.
Dude, quarterbacks don't even get hit at practice, my guy. Like he never
No,
has to get hit.
that's what I'm
Dude,
saying.
it
All
is
he got to
insane.
do is walkthroughs his whole career.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But
And even when he
but
runs,
but Kirk Cousins got that contract, and he
yeah,
set off a whole whirlwind out there, man.
he did. And a lot of people was mad at Minnesota for even doing that.
I agree.
But that got his deal, so he's going to be with the Cowboys. The only team that's really still searching for a quarterback is Denver. Um,
Mm.
so Denver could be the team that trade with the Jets if they're willing to give up a couple of picks to get that quarterback. But
Denver ain't doing it.
I don't think
won't
they
do it.
will. I think
No.
John Elway is so stuck in his head, dude, that
Mm-hmm.
he think that he could just build a quarterback out of nowhere. But
Well, you got to remember, he is literally football royalty in Colorado. So at this point, whatever he says goes. You know what I'm saying? Like if he think that they can make it happen, them Bronco fans is gonna be right behind them 100%. They don't care what it is. Real quick though, I wanted to say that if Justin Fields does go number 2 to the Jets, I think that y'all gonna take a shot at Trey Lance.
I think they will too because I think that my man Kyle Shanahan likes mobile quarterbacks, and I
Same
think that
prototype. Yep.
they like that. Yeah, I mean Justin's thicker, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he does because he had a press conference 2 days ago, and he was talking about how he likes the mobile quarterbacks and how these quarterbacks are running offenses in college and stuff like that. He really likes what he
Mm-hmm.
sees with these mobile guys.
Yeah.
So if he don't get Justin, I think he is gonna take a shot on dude out of North Carolina State. I mean not North Carolina State, North Dakota State. Let's just
Yeah.
hope that he ain't like fucking Carson Wentz. Telling you, man.
Ooh.
I shouldn't even think about that. But I will say this: people had put like bad like juju on Derek Carr because of his brother David Carr and how bad he was. So I'm not far fetched on saying the last quarterback that went in the first round out of North Dakota State was Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is just we already see what the Eagles did with him. But
Well, that's not really fair because without Carson Wentz, they would have never had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, right? The first time. I think that was Carson Wentz's MVP year. I think that him coming off that injury, I think that got into his head and that kind of messed with him as time progressed because the next following, the following year, same thing happened. He got injured and then here come, Nick Foles doing it again. So, I mean, it's just like it seemed like as soon as they get to that tail end, he just break down for some odd ass reason. I think that Indianapolis picking him up and making him the starter is the worst decision in the league. I'm not gonna lie, that's the worst decision in the league.
oh man, that's funny.
T.Y. Hilton
Um,
is gonna have a field day in the regular season.
damn. And then
That'll be it.
Matthew Stafford made a change. He went to the
Mm-hmm.
Rams. A lot of people like that. I don't know, man. Like I just look at a guy like Matthew Stafford for him to have Megatron for a decade, for him to have Brandon Pettigrew, who was considered like, I mean, when he was coming out of Oklahoma State, they were saying this dude was gonna change tight end. And he was good. He had some good years, but it's just like it's just like he's had talent, man, and it's like he hasn't really done anything with it. So I
Detroit
don't
is
know.
cursed, man. Detroit is cursed. That's all it is. They cursed.
So
But now watch Matt Stafford go to LA and take them and win the division and out of Detroit is just cursed.
don't say that, man.
Jared
Don't
Goff,
say that.
Jared Goff got the bad end of the stick in his trade, bro. Let's just be real. Detroit had Barry Sanders. This man could literally run to the end of the end zone on the play and literally run back up the field, score a touchdown, and they would still lose the game. They just cursed. I don't know what the hell is going on in Detroit, bro. It's bad for them, man. Whatever
Yeah,
they did, I want to say, and anybody can quote me on this. I'm saying it now. It's because the Michigan Wolverine football team is in Michigan, so the Detroit Lions also can't do anything.
this motherfucker. He's not in the damn Michigan Wolverine.
It's their fault.
Oh
I blame
man.
them for everything.
Oh man, you was a fucking clown. So like, I mean, it's a lot of quarterback stuff going on, but then some people
Yeah.
already got their quarterback of the future. Chargers got Justin Herbert. The Bengals hoping Joe Burrow come back successful from his injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Trevor Lawrence, he's going to be going to Jacksonville. But let's speak on your boys, man. Baker Mayfield and them boys, man. How you feeling about the Browns?
I'm feeling great, man. You know what I'm saying? Last year was a good year. You know what I'm saying? I think it shocked a lot of people to finally see that that team had finally came together and did something. Apparently, all we was missing was a solid running game because that's what really carried us through the season. Nick Chubb is coming back. Kareem Hunt's coming back. It looks like Odell. You know what I'm saying? They've been talking all kind of crazy things about Odell. They had him up on the trading block, but it looks like he'll be coming back. So, um, as far as the offense goes, I think they will be okay. I think that as long as Odell can stay healthy, you know what I'm saying, that makes a better season for Baker Mayfield. It gives him another weapon. Um, Rashard Higgins had a hell of a year last year. He's coming back. I think they're going to give him a lot more playing time. You know what I'm saying? I think the tight end situation that we had was beautiful last year. Defense, they made a great move in picking up Jefferson from the Rams. You know what I'm saying? That was a great move at safety. I had a real big issue with Andrew Sendejo, and then Carl Joseph, he was injured, so it was super tough to be able to see them not being able to cover that backfield like that. But I think that Jefferson is going to really change that up. Um, and then Greedy Williams will be back this year. Denzel Ward will be back this year. I know we needed a lot of work in the middle linebacker position, so I think that'll be something that they look forward to in the draft. I know on the offensive line we got rid of Larry Ogunjobi, but we picked up some pretty decent pieces to fill in those spots. The line is not what I'm necessarily worried about on defense. Myles Garrett, Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, those guys held it down last year, including Larry Ogunjobi. So I understood why they really let him go. This is probably one of those years that he was slated to get paid. So you know what I'm saying? That was probably a good move on their behalf. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would like to see them pick up a lot of defensive pieces, a lot of pieces on the offensive line. If they can do that in the draft, then I think that it'll be a good year for us again.
Yeah, man. Hopefully y'all can get back into the playoffs, man. That y'all had a really good year last year. Hopefully y'all can ride off of that momentum that y'all had. But man, so look, man, I gotta do this. I never do this on this podcast. I never do this.
Right.
I never take something that is moving in the streets, and because I'm not a I don't chase I don't chase trying to go viral. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
but I gotta get into it, man, because like I got some thoughts, but it's I'm kind of taking just a little bit of a different angle. But so Lil Nas X, man, comes out with this Satan shoe,
Yeah.
and, and you know what I'm saying? It comes out with this video. He got a whole promo for it, man. This mother giving the Satan a lap dance. You know what I'm saying? With the red hair, he put the horns on his head. I ain't seen the video. This is all shit that I've heard. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, me too. Me
so
too.
and so the whole thing is there's this company. I wish I could remember what the name was, but they
Mischief.
the one. Yeah, Mischief. They the one who come out with the shoe. Say they got a drop of human blood in it, which I mean, I never believe that shit. They just put some
Me either.
fucking water with food coloring in it and threw it down there, and
Mm-hmm.
and so they selling them for 1,000 a piece. You know what I'm saying, a stack.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people they didn't know. They thought Nike actually put the shoe out, and
Right.
Lil Nas X was promoting it. So Nike had to come out and say, "Yo, we ain't got nothing to do with that shoe." You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got nothing to do with it. And
Right.
so I think that Nike started seeing the backlash. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it was multiple things though. I think it was they start seeing the backlash. So they're like, okay, well we need the first thing we need to do, we need to distance ourselves from the shoe. But then at the same time, Nike's upset that they selling the shoe for a stack and they actually making the profit because like
Right.
basically, I mean, you can get those Air Maxes $150, You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you buy them for $1.50, and then you making almost, you know what I'm saying, almost $800 profit. So they're like, yo, hold on, y'all ain't just gonna be taking our shoe, our $200 shoe, and making an $800 profit. You know what I'm saying? And we the one that's getting the backlash off of it. So they're like, yo, we gonna sue both of y'all. But the thing about Lil Nas X is the fact of this dude got a new song coming out, and he said that he's been working on his promo for like 8 months or some shit like that. So he's like, he's ready for it. And it's just like, that just tells me like, yo, you're doing all of this shit for attention. And the thing is, Old Town Road, okay, it rung off. It didn't ring off to me, but it rung off. His second single, it was cool, but he started getting, you know what I'm saying, commercials, fucking Doritos and shit. It seemed like all that shit died down. So what does he do? He gives Satan the fucking lap dance with a fucking shoe. And it's like, yo, like what is going on here, man? And I don't know if I'm willing. Like they always say, what is it? Fame is one hell of a drug, and they say once you get it, that's why a lot of people say it. I've heard the question: would you want your first album to be a classic album, or would you rather build off that momentum and you just get better? Because a lot of times you start off hot, you're always trying to catch that. Even if it's a situation like Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, to me, Off the Wall is great. You know what I'm saying? But Thriller, I mean, shit, every song was a single.
Yeah.
So he was always chasing his second album. But it's like Lil Nas X. It's like Lil Nas X. He comes out with the song that just takes over the world, and like then, I mean, he still was in commercials and shit. Then he comes out and say, "Yo, I'm gay," all this type of stuff. And this is what pissed me off. I stopped talking. What pissed me off was I saw a tweet where somebody said that the reason people are outraged, they said that people wasn't outraged with 3 6 Mafia making music that's dark, melodic. And then he said Bone Thugs and Harmony did the same thing. And he said that DMX actually played the devil, you know what I'm saying, in songs on It's Dark and Hell is Hot. And he was like, y'all only mad because Lil Nas X is gay. And it's like, and I'm sitting here reading this tweet, and I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, yo, I don't like, dude, when they did what they did, it wasn't for attention. I mean, that was the shit that they was feeling. I mean, his name is Dark Man X. Come on. Like what the fuck, man? Like what you mean? This dude, he's a dark dude, man. And I don't understand, man. What you taking this stuff, man? What you taking this, man?
Man, listen, you hit the nail on the head when you said that. Would you rather your first joint be a classic, or would you rather continue to build up? Right? That's pretty much the dilemma that this dude is in. I think that a lot of people are conflating so many different things in with what's going on with this dude. The truth of the matter is that the song is ass. It's a trash ass song.
I never liked it.
He just got a trash song. This is the thing that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about how weak this song is. And so when you got your first single to ever come out, your first song to ever, you know what I'm saying, be on Billboard and all this other shit, and it's an instant fucking atomic bomb, and everywhere you go, you hearing Old Town Road, you hearing it in the club, you hearing it on Kids Box, you hearing it, and they remixing it in church. You know what I'm saying? Kids are singing it, old people singing it. Everybody loves this, right? we got to remember one thing, that this dude is always been about controversy. Everything about this dude is controversial. Nothing about this dude is based off of the fact that he's putting out good work. Old Town Road didn't go off until Billy Ray Cyrus decided to get on the song. Before Billy Ray Cyrus got on the song, it was just a cool song on TikTok to do a dance to. Then all of a sudden, they wouldn't let him in country because he's a young black kid. That was the first controversy. So everybody was like, "Oh man, that shit ain't cool." Billy Ray Cyrus was like, "Man, I'll jump on something with you. Fuck it, let's do a remix." Remix hit, that shit go off. The Baby jumped on the remix, so you know it went off. Like this was all of a sudden, this is one of the biggest joints on there. They're on the BET Awards. Billy Ray Cyrus playing the guitar on the BET Awards. We ain't never seen this nigga on the BET Awards. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? That's the first controversy. Then right off the tail end of him doing right off the tail end of him doing Old Town Road, he come out with the Panini song. It was a good song, don't get me wrong. It wasn't as good as Old Town Road did, but it was doing something. Because you know what I'm saying, it was right off the tail end of Old Town Road. That shit didn't do good. What'd he do? I'm gay. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, this nigga's the LGBT community out there singing Panini. You know what I'm saying? This nigga done had 2 or 3 songs to drop after that. Nobody's heard nothing about this shit. You ain't hear nothing about him. You just keep seeing this nigga on commercial. You see this nigga on the Boost Mobile, I mean not Boost Mobile, Metro PCS commercial looking like a Crip. You know what I'm saying? He got all blue on, hair blue, suit blue, all that. He cripped out on the Metro PCS commercial. You know what I'm saying? He ain't said not 2 words. He just blued out. So cool. You know what I'm saying? He getting commercials. He on the Doritos commercial off of the, you know what I'm saying, off of the Old Town Road fame. All of a sudden that shit started dying down. So what do you do next? Well, the gay part didn't work because it ain't not cool to be gay no more. Now it's super cool to be gay. Everybody getting their gay now. So it's like, hey, that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? You thought that shit was gonna be a controversial. Failed you. So what did he do? He wanna I don't know, you want pole dance for Satan or whatever. Well, everybody keep talking about they don't do it because he gay. Don't nobody care about the fact that this dude is gay, bro. It's 2021. Being gay is acceptable now. Like this is what, and I'm not saying that it wasn't before. I'm just saying that this is what society is saying. But being gay is acceptable now. The LGBTQ community, the trans community, all these other people, they have some sort of rank in society now. So the fact that he talk about he go around gay, it didn't pop off like he thought it would. So that's why he keep forcing this thing, talking about, oh well, I made this video for all the people that made me feel bad about myself because I was gay. That ain't why you made the video, bro. You made the video because when the song came out, the song was ass. So what do? You go back to what you do best. You create a controversy. So you say, what's the craziest shit we can do in the video? Ooh, I know. I'm a twerk on Satan. Twerk on Satan. Now all the Christians is going crazy talking, oh, I can't believe he twerking on Satan. He twerking on Satan. Don't nobody care about this goddamn video. Don't nobody care about these trash ass Air Maxes. Listen, the song is weak. You are a weak artist. That's all it is to it. Accept it for what it is. You don't have the cachet to keep putting out hits like you just did. You trying to follow that Old Town Road. Like you said, fame is one hell of a drug. In order for him to be famous, he got to get another Old Town Road. A lot of artists end up chasing that big hit that they had. And to have a big hit like Old Town Road, that can either be great for your career or it could be the worst thing to happen in your career. And apparently it's been the worst thing to happen in his career because he hasn't had anything else that can get to that stage or get to that level. So the fact that this is something that everybody's talking about now, and this is what he wanted people to have to talk about it and say something. But the one thing is that before all of this shit came out, go look and see how many views it had. Go look and see how long it was out. Go look and see how many views it had and listens it had before this shit popped. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. All this dude do is just all he is controversy. So if his song don't pop, he gonna do something crazy. The situation with the shoes, the company that he collabed with to make the shoes, apparently they came out with some other shoes for Jesus or something like that. And of course,
Yeah, had
ain't nobody
holy
gonna fight
water in
Jesus. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna fight Jesus. Who gonna fight Jesus? You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna fight Jesus. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be a Christian nation, as they say, but everybody free to do their own religion. But everybody know a lot of motherfuckers go to church, so ain't nobody gonna fight Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That if he was smart, that would have been what he did. He would have rolled with Jesus on that. He really should have made a gospel song. If he really wanted to get shit popping, he should have made a gospel song. But everybody kept saying that at the end of the video, he killed the devil and then he take the devil's spot and blah blah blah. Nobody cares. The song is trash. You're not that good of an artist. So these are the links that you have to go through in order for you to be in the front and everything else. The sad part about it all is Cardi B will come out with something next week and we'll even forget about all this shit happening.
This is true, and the whole argument of the holy water shoes or whatever is the fact of they didn't ring off. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like nobody like ran to that shit the way
Nobody
they
did
ran to
video
this,
for him.
and I think that exactly. So that's all it is. Like I mean, yeah, I know we supposed to live in a Christian nation and all this type of stuff, but like you said, nobody's gonna fight Jesus. But I think that
Exactly.
with the whole Nike situation, we all know, first off, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people got to understand. And then also at the same time, we all know Nike plays both sides. I mean, great example, the NFL. They support the NFL and they also gave Colin Kaepernick his own brand. So they're getting money from both parties. So with them suing this company and suing Lil Nas X, it's like, yo, they're doing it to prove a point. It's like, yo, we ain't gonna let y'all, number one, profit off the shoe, but we get the bad end of it. Like everybody's bashing us. So we gotta prove a point on suing y'all. And then it's at the same time, it's like, I mean, I want to go more on the Nike part, but just to say that Lil Nas X saying that, like, yo, he's prepared for this, and you know what I'm saying, and he got bags to, to fight this and all this type of stuff. And it's like, yo, you willing to do all of this just for your song to ring off?
That nigga gonna re-release Old Town Road after this lawsuit. Trust me. He ain't got that Nike money. God damn it. I don't give a fuck what. I don't give a fuck how many times that shit got played in Korea. Nigga, that shit is not gonna get you through a Nike settlement, brother. Trust me. They gonna have to pay something. And listen, and for Nike to, you know what I'm saying, not really care about them. I mean, at the end of the day, they bought the shoes and then they just basically did the same thing everybody else did. They just customized the shoes after they bought them. So technically, Nike got their money. It ain't like Nike didn't get their money. It's just more so the fact that you using a likeness to promote this bullshit and this weak ass song. So now the fact that don't nobody fuck with this song, and now everybody keep talking about Nike. Yeah, Nike should sue him. I would sue him too. Why would you put my shoes up with this weak ass song? I'm not mad at Nike. I'm not mad at Nike. Sue the fuck out his own. Sue the label. Sue everybody that has something to do with this shit, because you should never put some sweet Nikes, the 97s at that. These Air Max 97s, bro. Yeah. And you put this with this trash ass song. Air Force Ones had Nelly. You know what I'm saying? Air Force Ones had Nelly. You know what I'm saying? They even had, Jordan even had Nelly. You know what I'm saying? And then here you go, Air Max 97's got Lil Nas X with this weak ass devil song. Like, get this shit out of here, man. Sue that man. Sue everything about him. Sue his uncles, his aunts, all of them.
Hey, boy, you wild as fuck. And to close this out, I haven't even heard the song. I don't even know what the fucking song sounds like. I just see like snippets of the video.
It's trash.
I bet it is. I don't fuck with that dude like that. But
but man, but that shit was trash.
I didn't. He can keep it. So man, listen. There's some controversy. There's some shit going around the Joe Budden podcast, man. I texted you this morning, and I was just like, "Yo," I said, "Have you seen the picture?" And you was like, "What?" And I was like, "Man, Joe put up a picture with just him. It ain't, what I'm saying? And they got him and Rory and Maul and Parks in it.
Right.
And so you were saying that, you think it's, something to add fuel to the fire type of thing, to get the people
Mm-hmm.
talking. But there's a lot going on. They haven't been on the last, well, they was off for an episode. And then when they came back, let me see, I think it's been three.
It's been
Wait,
like two
was
or
this the
three.
third?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, it's been 2 or 3.
Yeah, so I believe this was like the third episode without Rory and Maul. And so you made a lot of good points, man, before we was off air. And so enlighten the people on, some of the points that you was making earlier on this whole Joe Budden
Um.
situation.
So I know a lot of people are talking about, you know what I'm saying, they was referencing when those 2 episodes when Rory kept talking about fighting Joe or whatever. And then the last time it happened on that second episode, Joe kind of, you know what I'm saying, like spazzed out like, yo, quit saying that shit because I don't want to fight you for real because you're my friend. You know what I'm saying? And then Rory responded with, are we friends for real or whatever? I didn't really look too much into that. That's just some shit they do before because even Rory has said that shit multiple times. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You think your chin is tough. You know what I'm saying? Like Rory done said shit like that before. So I didn't pay that no attention. Um, and then, Joe and Molly make jokes with each other and then Joe get up, you know what I'm saying? And you'll hear Molly like, man, quit touching me though. Stop touching me though. So, I didn't pay that shit no attention either. What I did pay attention to, however, was what Joe said. He said that he told Rory to take a break, go ahead and go home. You got some shit that you got to sort through it. So that was pretty telling about, you know what I'm saying, that fighting shit between him and Rory. And then the second part was he said that Maul kind of got mad at him about telling Rory to go home, and I guess Maul kind of said like, "Who are you to tell Rory to go home?" And then shit on Maul's social media on Instagram, it said some shit like, you know, niggas ain't who you thought they were, some shit to that effect, right? But excuse me, knowing these guys and if you pay attention to the way things is going, it seemed like all of this shit is the story is never staying the same every episode. So like 1 minute is, I told Roy to go home, Maul got mad. Well, no, I'm sorry, take it back. 1 minute is the guys is on vacation. And then the next episode is, well, I told Roy to go home, saying, take a break, go ahead, relieve that stress. And then Maul was like, who are you to tell him that? And then the next minute is, I called him and was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of all this shit, we still got to be friends at the end of the day. We still got to be cool. We still got to talk. So it's like, I look back, listen to some things on some episodes. You hear Rory calling Joe a troll a lot, right? Then if you listen to this episode that came out today, you hear Joe saying a lot like, I'm not a troll. I don't like trolling. So trolling is this heavy theme that's been thrown around a lot. Then, you hear all this other shit about Rory and Maul saying that, Rory saying that he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to pod. He was on See the Thing Is. He talked about how much better it was there. And then out of the blue, Joe just talked about how Maul said that he didn't want to be there. And then if anybody that listens is a fan of or is a member of the Patreon for Joe, what I'm saying, you hear even, they make the jokes about how Maul shows up late, Maul might not be there for the Patreon vids or whatever. They've even said it in the episodes, right? But for me, I think that this is a this is just one of those things that I really think that they ended up doing the vacation. Joe probably didn't want to go on vacation, so he probably told them, "Why don't y'all go on vacation? Go ahead, get your heads together or whatever. Take some time off. I'll find a way to do this." I don't think it has anything to do with business. I don't think it has anything to do with none of that. I really think that Rory and Maul are on vacation because they're not as active in their social media as they usually are. If you go to their Instagram or Twitter, you don't find shit after like March 20th or any of that. When they was last on the episode, then none of their bios and none of that shit changed. You don't see nothing on their stories or none of that. But you just got Joe doing a whole bunch of talking. Not only that, Parks is still there. So when you had said something about the picture when I had went to go look at it, that's another reason why I said like this is just some attention shit, or this is just some shit that they doing to rouse some fans up and bring more people in, because it didn't make too much sense as to why Joe would be on there, but Parks wouldn't be on there, and Parks is still there. You know what I'm saying? And then this episode that came out Saturday, Joe said something to Parks was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? We're going to have a real conversation on Patreon about, you know what I'm saying, how you feel for it, because you ain't said nothing either. So when you listen to the 2 episodes on Patreon, you really realize that a lot of this shit might not be what it is. This might be a bunch of smoke and mirrors. That's at least what I think.
So you think it could be more of a situation of they could come back and be like, yo,
gotcha,
you see how we had the fans because y'all took a vacation. You see how the fans was up in the, you know what I'm saying? Had the panties up in the bunch. I mean, it could be. You know, this is I've mentioned this before, man. This is like, you know, as far as like the famous people, you know, it's like one of my favorite podcasts. Like they've been putting in work. It's a great podcast to listen to. That because like, you know, as far as the famous people, man, you know what I'm saying? It's them, Dan Levitard show and Ebro in the morning. But like, I think that, but as far as like the circle that we're in and like the things that we listen to, like they the best podcast out. So
100%.
I don't, and even you mentioned like Rory and Maul aren't like huge in the podcast space. They just Joe and Joe and it popped. So why jump off of something, especially right now? Like, ain't no Palooza's gonna be ringing off in the next couple of months. I mean, maybe.
Not Joe. Rory and Maul ain't hurting for no money. Like,
nah, they're not hurting for money.
Hurting for no money. Like Maul. I'm sure. First and foremost, Maul is big Kareem Big Burke's brother, Big's Burke brother, and he is also hip hop brother, right? So these two are heavy in the music industry. For those who don't know, Biggs was the third member or the third founder of Rockefeller Records, and then hip hop is probably one of the most iconic managers in rap music in general. So Maul ain't hurting for shit. He got connects. So it's not like he ain't if he get off the Joe Budden podcast and he just loses shit. Nah, you know what I'm saying? And on top of that, I'm sure he has something to do with sports because he know a lot of athletes too. So I'm sure he dealing in something with sports, right? And then with Rory been working at labels since forever. You know what I mean? That's kind of how him and Joe met. Not only that, we forget that Rory got an album coming out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? What better way to bring attention to this nigga album than little beef?
You know and just give him the time to
work on his album.
Cross the T's, dot the I's. You know what I'm saying? To get the album ready. So it could be a whole vacation little situation, man. Like that's going on right now. So I mean, I ain't mad at it, but
I'm saying is
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, my fault. Well, I had a little issue. But all I'm saying is next week, don't be surprised if Joe, Rory, and Maul somehow sitting at the thing and then they talking about this story and then boom, they all end up laughing and talking about how they got everybody that listened, how they got us all you know what I'm saying, hyped up over nothing and how easy it is, you know what I'm saying, to make some shit up. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised.
Man, neither will I. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. So man, the last thing I got on the docket, man, just NBA shit, man. Like, I mean, I'm not getting into all the moves that happened during the deadline. One thing that I do want to mention, that I think that's a sleeper move that I think is going to end up making some noise is Rondo going to the Clippers. I think the Clippers needed a veteran point guard to kind of put everything in order there. I think the Clippers, they always have this malfunction in the playoffs. And I think a guy like Rondo, a veteran guy like Rondo, who's coming off of a championship, I think that's a big move. And another big move that I didn't really want to get into was Holiday going to the Bucks. I think that's a big deal. But the big order that I want to get into is LaMarcus Aldridge, you know what I'm saying, get bought out with the Spurs, and he decided to join the Brooklyn Nets. And we all saw Blake Griffin went there probably like a month ago or whatever. I think to me personally, I think it's overblown. I think that what the Nets already have is a lot of scoring power. I don't think they needed another offensive threat. I think that LaMarcus Aldridge, um, at least what he has been, he's been a statue, really, to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's really, ever since he left the Trailblazers and went to the Spurs, he wasn't the same guy anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he could, now with him going there, they don't need the the uh the Trailblazers LaMarcus Aldridge. So don't
Mm-hmm.
mistake can be there. They don't need that LaMarcus Aldridge. But what they did need was a defensive presence. And that's not what they got with LaMarcus Aldridge. I think that just because it's a situation where I can't remember exactly what the number was. I think it was something like 42 like all-star appearances, like with all the people that they got on the squad. You could be an all-star or been an all-star. It doesn't mean it's going to translate to a championship. But before I stop talking,
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. And Uncle Washington says this all the time. Sometimes, in some situations, there is a such thing as too much talent on one team.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be one of those situations. If egos get involved, this whole thing could implode, and this whole Brooklyn Nets situation turns into nothing.
Well, first and foremost, all of this shit is just potential, right? All of this shit is just potentially. Like we talked about with the draft. All of this shit is what could be, right? Um, I think the biggest thing that people aren't looking at as far as the Brooklyn Nets go is that we haven't seen a long stint with the three main players yet. We haven't seen at least 3 to 5 games with the three main guys yet. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not really worried about who they're picking up. I'm more so worried about are they three main stars going to be healthy in time for playoffs? Are they going to be able to carry the load when it's time for playoffs? Because we know KD's possible. You know what I mean? Well, we know KD's capable of taking the team there because he's been there before, right? He's seen what it took with Golden State. You know what I'm saying? He became a team player when he got to Golden State. He played his role and became the star of that team. To me, he's the key in all of this. If they don't have a KD, I don't care if James Harden is on that team. I don't care if Kyrie Irving is on that team. I don't care if LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin and all these guys on this team. It's not gonna matter because when it comes down to the playoffs, you still got to play that team for you know 7 games, and that's the only team that you got to prepare for. So things get different when they get to the playoffs. Without a KD, none of this matters. Um, to be honest with you, Kyrie to me is the weak link out of those three. Um, he is one of the best players in the league. Don't get me wrong, but if you pay attention to how this season has been going. He's been too off and on for me. James Harden is just happy to finally be on the team that's championship contender. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's in the run for a championship. He had a long time in Houston where he was playing this game, doing his thing, but a lot of people said that he was a ball hog and he was gunning. But if you really go back and look at those Houston teams, he never really had anybody to, kind of move the ball around with, or anybody that could score at the same pace and volume that he could. So um, my whole thing is the free agency and the trades and everything. That was good moves, of course, by Brooklyn. But if they don't have those key three players, then all of this is pretty much for nothing.
And you putting a lot of pressure because now they have entered that stage of championship or bust.
Yeah,
I think that's what it did, and it's just like I think that they got two guys that we know that can handle the pressure as far as KD and Kyrie. But I'm also with you with the whole thing of Kyrie has been off and on, but we know he knows
hmm
what it's like with that light shining on him. KD know what it's like. James has been in situations where he folded in the playoffs. So, and
hmm
then when it comes to LaMarcus Aldridge, I don't think he's the same guy that he was a couple of years ago. DeAndre Jordan is
right.
definitely not the same guy. So I just think that, man, for Charles to come out, Charles Barkley, for the people that don't know who just Charles is, for him to come out and say that the comments that he said, by saying that, this is all LeBron James' fault. Nobody was doing this before you were doing it. So, like, my thing is, it's like this is the one thing that unfortunately LeBron gonna have to carry around forever. But like, me has had this argument before of like, don't get me wrong, Chris Bosh coming out of Toronto was a solid player. But at the time, Chris Bosh wasn't considered like the best power forward in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have been top five.
hmm
And even when it comes to Dwayne Wade, like people were saying that he was on his last leg. Now they was able to get a couple of good years, but Dwayne Wade was, you know, he was coming off of injury things and all this little stuff, and they threw together a team. So when it comes to
hmm
that Miami Big Three, like I never took it as like oh my God, he joined the two best players in the league and there's no competition. I don't think that ever was the case. And so when it comes to like Charles Barkley saying that, with LeBron James doing this, it's his fault and all this type stuff, and he don't want to play nobody, and now it comes out that LeBron James was recruiting Steph Curry at the All Star game because he drafted him on his team
hmm
and all this type shit. So what are your thoughts on the Charles Barkley shit and the whole thing of LeBron James recruiting Stephen Curry to the Lakers?
With Charles, man, this just goes to show you how good Charles has gotten at being a media personality, a NBA analyst, right? We know that he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He's also becoming one of the greatest NBA analysts of all time as well. Because for Charles to say that LeBron James started this whole super team thing, or he was a part of the start of the whole super team thing, we forget that Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and KG teamed up in Boston. We forget that Kobe got Paul Gasol to get there. You know what I'm saying? He also had Steve Nash. He also had Karl Malone and Gary Payton on his team as well, right? So you know what I'm saying? It's been teams that's had superstars all on the same team before. This isn't something that just happened when LeBron James jumped in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like this ain't something LeBron started. This something that has been done before. The only difference is that Miami was so good because they had LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James went to a team that had, like you said, Dwayne Wade, who was coming off of knee injuries, Chris Bosh, who was a 20 and 10 player in Toronto. Then when he got to Miami, he became a third wheel, and he wasn't nowhere near as good a player as he was in Toronto, right? So I think that the media is doing their usual. They taking the Skip Bayless route and talking about LeBron as if saying he created this whole new phenomenon of bringing all these superstar players together and doing. That's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? We forget that Kobe was recruiting Chris Paul to come to the LA, and David Stern was like, "Nah, we're not doing that." You know what I'm saying? So like, let's not forget that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
LeBron didn't start none of this. This ain't something that LeBron started. But salute to Chuck though. Chuck is doing a great job being the media personality. He's doing a great job being, saying the NBA analyst. He's basically the bad guy as far as NBA analysts go. Um, so he knows what he's doing. It's not like he's not adept at doing what he does best, and that's pretty much just ruffle people's feathers. Um, as far as LeBron recruiting Steph Curry to come to LA, I mean, could you blame him? Who wouldn't want to play with Steph Curry? You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine LeBron coming down the court and he about to take it to the rack, and then he do one of those freakishly weird passes that somehow get to the player right on time when he needed, and Steph Curry is out there and he just knocked that bad boy down. Because every team he goes to, the first thing he does is he tells them, "Yo, I need shooters on my team." So I think we complain about how LeBron don't take it to the rack and just go to the bucket get the foul, but if you pay attention to his game, the reason he doesn't do that is because he's a pass first guy. You know what I'm saying? He's a floor general. He's a facilitator. So if LeBron is going to go to the rack and he knows and remind you he has a super high basketball IQ. So if he's going to the rack and he knows that he can't make it and he can make that pass, why wouldn't you want to pass it off to a guy that can shoot the three? Why wouldn't you want to? This is something we've been seeing, what I'm saying, ever since he went to Miami. So he sees the formula that works, and it works to, what I'm saying, all the way up to the championship. So I think that's a smart move. I would actually love to see Steph Curry and LeBron James on the same team. That would be amazing.
I think it'd be dope as well. I'm not mad at it because then even though people will say, well, oh, well, they're trying to stack the Lakers. He's one of the best
Mm-hmm.
players in the league and all this type of stuff. He's won 2 MVPs, unanimous MVP, but he's never won a Finals MVP. And the thing about the strange thing about Steph Curry is he's never been like. Don't get me wrong. The year or the 2 years, the 2 years before KD got there, Steph is not Steph without Clay. Don't get it twisted.
That's
If
true.
Clay wasn't there,
Or Draymond.
yeah, like Draymond was the guy that facilitated it, the whole offense. But the
Mm-hmm.
other thing about how he even got open for some of these threes, yes, he got freakishly great handles, but at the same time, people are afraid of Clay too. You don't want to leave this dude open.
Oh,
So
100%.
yeah, so that
Second
helped
best
him.
shooter in the league.
Exactly. So I also think that Steph may not be as good as we think he is, but he is with the right people around him, he can flourish the way that he's flourished. So the Lakers pick up Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond gets a buyout with the Cavs. I think it's a great pickup, man. I think it's what they
Mm-hmm.
needed. I think the loss of Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee was a
Mm-hmm.
little bigger than we thought. But the thing about Andre Drummond, he's a better offensive threat than those two guys were. And
Yeah.
also, the great thing about having Drummond is the fact that when he does come back, Anthony Davis don't have to stress and play the five because he don't like to play the five. He played the five because he knew it helped the team, but he's more comfortable at the four.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that
Yeah.
with a guy like Andre Drummond, that's really going to take some pressure off of Anthony Davis when him and LeBron comes back. So what do you think about the move?
Um, I think that Andre Drummond is a great piece to pick up. Don't get me wrong. I think that that's going to make a difference, like you said, especially when AD comes back. I think what we missing out of this whole thing, the one piece of the pie that that we got to acknowledge is Montrezl Harrell. You know what I'm saying? He's still there. So um, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a hell of a front court with uh, him and Drummond and AD, switching the roles, AD possibly going back to the four, or switching up in the five when they run small ball with Montrez out there, or AD finally getting a chance to take a break with Montrez coming off the bench. So I mean, this is something good, man. Andre Drummond, he like you said, he brings some offense there. He definitely brings the defense, so that's out of the question to even talk about that. But I think it's going to be something that is going to put the Lakers back in that championship spot.
100% agree with you, man. 100% agree with you. So did you have any other thing in the NBA that you wanted to add in there, man, before we give everybody the socials and everything?
Just just the fact that I'm kind of sad, man, that the Orlando Magic had a fire sale. They just let everybody go. You know what I'm saying? It's another bad season, but outside of that, I don't even want to talk about that. No, everything good, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. For the people who don't listen to Viewers Anonymous, this is a taste of what we do, man. But honestly, it's more surrounded around the movie, or the last podcast we did, the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we did, Phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
But but feel like, man, great chemistry, man. That's one thing we got. Even though
Yeah,
we're talking about a completely different thing, chemistry's there. So if you want more of me and Scoots together, man, you can get all of that at the Viewers Anonymous podcast. Um, he definitely comes on the 28 Minutes or Less podcast as well. But man, get back to socials, man, before you jump up out of here.
hit me up on Twitter, man, at Scootzbronsen. You can follow me on Instagram at Scootzbronsen_TV. You can check out my other podcast, 15 Minutes of Fame. Just did an interview with the homie Casey, friend of the show here and friend of the show on Viewers Anonymous. That's all I got, bro. And be sure to check out Viewers Anonymous, of course.
Oh yeah, and join the VA podcast watch group page as well, man. You can get everything as
Mm-hmm.
far as 15 Minutes of Fame, fucking Stolen Time podcast, 28 Minutes or Less podcast. All the podcasts is under this huge umbrella that we got here. Before I get out of here, man, shouts out and prayers to Uncle Washington. That's my guy. So pray that he
For
gets
sure.
better. Shout out to Casey. I texted him today, told him, and you know what I'm saying, he did a great job on the interview. Told him I learned some more things about him. And for some odd reason, man, he now this is gonna be the second week of the new intro. But for some odd reason, man, he was like he's surprised that you like his music. He was like, I'm surprised that he likes my music. I was like, why would you be surprised, man? Like what you mean? Like, yeah, like he's a very humble dude, and he's
Yeah,
always
he a
feel like he,
perfectionist, man.
yeah. And when you like that, man, you never think it's good enough. It takes
Right.
you a time to get over that of like, like he sent me because he's working right now. He's working on the background music for the 28 Minutes or Less, like something that I can
Okay.
play out. Like when I do solo joints, like when I do solo, I have music in the
Mm-hmm.
background. So he's working on a new beat for me, and he sent me over this thing. But he's already like he sent it to me. And he's like, well, I kind of don't like this part and this part, and and he's like, let me
Yeah,
know what you
yeah,
think. So he's already like, you know what I'm saying? Like already like pointing out the things that he don't like. But man,
yeah.
I told him, I said, listen, man, get in your mode and whatever you feel is right. I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it. So I just said, man, when you get in your mode, get in there, cook up something, and I'll definitely be playing it. So shouts out to him.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Candace. We're looking into working with her more. We had something lined up,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what I'm saying? Life happened. So just be on the lookout for
Yeah.
her, other platforms and type of stuff like that. Also, man, shout out to Mark. I appreciate him jumping on the last episode. Um, no, actually, wait a minute. Yeah, because Dustin was on the 28 minutes less. So I appreciate him jumping on the last episode, man. So shout out to him. Shout out to Sinclair. Be on the lookout for him as well. Um, shit, that's all I got, man. Until the next time of 28 minutes. Damn. Hey, but I got too many podcasts, man. Until the next time, man, of the Stolen Time podcast, man. Man, I'll be laughing, man. I'll be laughing.
You be
Hey, but
working,
this
man.
shit. Hey, yes, we be putting in the work, man. We putting in the work. But another thing, man, and I can't stop promoting this, man. If you're a fan of Snowfall, man, we're gonna have that episode 7 for you on
Yes,
Viewers
sir.
Anonymous this week at the end of this week. So definitely go support that podcast as well. And like I
Mm-hmm.
said in the beginning, this is episode 206 of the Stolen Time podcast, and we are out.